Hello, welcome back. I am Mari Robeson and welcome to my vlog. Today I wanted to share an update on my novel and also on my short film that I've been working on, which is called The Mystery of Eve. And I also wanted to share my perspective on productivity and this constant pressure we're under with social media to, as artists, to always be showing our work and producing. And I've been pretty much a commercial artist. I designed for companies like Pottery Barn and Williams Sonoma, and done all kinds of interior design where there was deadlines and always. But when it's come to this project, it has just really been a teacher of patience, and if that means that some people will fall away and aren't interested anymore, that's totally fine too. But I have decided to really commit myself to the process of really following that creative thread, and being so, that's how this whole story has unfolded. And I've been reading a lot of, I love Lyman Frankbaum. He wrote The Wizard of Oz, but he also wrote a lot of other really great little stories, and they're super entertaining to read just kind of right before I go to sleep, because they're just light, and when you're drifting off to dreamland, it's kind of nice to have nice happy little thoughts in your brain before you fall asleep. And when I was looking at this book, there's so many gorgeous illustrations in here, if you can see, but I realized, this book was probably 100 years ago, and I'm reading it, so I don't know why I put this incredible 1919, yeah, 100 years ago. Why I'm putting such a pressure on myself to get my book done so fast, when it's really just turned into this enormous world that is just calling of me to really pursue it creatively. So the story started as a series of paintings that I did back in 2020, and they were all rooms in this house, and as the paintings were evolving, this story was coming to me about how a house represents different aspects, different rooms are different aspects of ourselves. And that was kind of the impetus behind the collection of paintings that I did. So COVID happens, a lot of life things happen, and I end up not showing the collection until the following year, which was 2021. And it was an interesting thing, because at that point I had already written the screenplay of the story that kind of went behind all these paintings, because like many filmmakers, it came to me very visually, and I thought it would make a fantastic stop motion animated film. So I wrote as a screenplay, and I did get to speak with some really amazing producers and directors that are in that world, and they all said lovely things, but they also were encouraging me to develop it more. And so when I went to the show, they had said, I met, hundreds of people came to the show, and they were all, and it surprised me how well it went, and how much people were interested in the story behind the paintings. And many of them had asked if it was a novel, and I'm literally heard it over 100 times. And so when I got back from the show, I had another Zoom call with a very well-known producer who's worked with Wes Anderson and Tim Burton and some big name directors, who was gracious enough to share his advice with me. And he said, since I'm illustrating everything and kind of sculpting, that I should go ahead and definitely write the book, because it would protect my IP. And I had already had some of the artwork stolen, off the internet. That happens. It's the Wild West out there. But so that was when I decided to sit down and write the book. I had no idea. I've been a writer my whole life. I've never sat down to write a novel. That was a whole nother world. So I stepped into that, and the story developed, and it grew and it grew, and it got better and better, and then it got worse. Then I had to cut, and then I had to add, and it was. I don't know how people write books so quickly, because it's been a 2-year process of writing the book, and finally this last summer I finished it. It was like draft number 7, something crazy. And that's when I started the vlogs, because I wanted to hold myself accountable and make sure I was going to finish it. So I finished the book, and I was like, I have to start illustrating it now. And I had already decided to build the house. So because I have a background in architecture and interior design, I designed the actual house, the interior, everything. And a friend of mine who's an architect did the CAD drawings for it. That will be a video all in its own. The whole inspiration behind the house and where it came from, and that backstory is super interesting. There's so many strange things that have happened with this story that are beyond me. And so I built the house pretty big. It's a pretty big house, and I wanted to have it for an art exhibit. And I also really wanted to do a book trailer, an animated book trailer. And I reached out to people, and it kept coming back to me that I need to be the one that does it, because nobody's going to make your story as much the way you're going to make it. And when I finally gave into that and allowed myself to just try things and fail at things and experiment with things, that's when it got really interesting. And my daughter, one of my daughters, I have 3, who is somewhat in the film industry, was telling me, encouraging me to make a short film. And I said, okay, I think I'm going to do that. So I took one of the back characters, and if you've seen anything on my Instagram or TikTok, I've been sharing the mystery of Eve. And Eve is just a small character in this very big story world, but she's so super interesting. And all the characters have some fatal flaw that they're having to work through. And Eve's is vanity. So I thought she would be a really fun one to do a backstory. So I came up with the idea of her story, which then changed the bigger story. I have to make some adjustments in there, not much, but it definitely enhanced a lot of things, because now it's very generational. And she lived in the house 65 years prior to when the novel actually takes place. So there's a lot of things that I'm putting in this little short film that, if you're savvy and you like Easter eggs, there's a whole fun thing that you can do there by looking and watching that film and then reading the book. And or you may read the book and then go back and see Eve's backstory, and that will also explain some things in a little more detail, which is, I love Easter eggs. So this has been really, really fun. Now, that brings me to where I'm at. So I finished writing the book, and it's all done. And I've written Eve's backstory and her screenplay, the script for it. And so now I've just been building all the sets. So that's where I've been, hiding out in my studio, building all the sets. And I'm just finished the last set. I still have some characters and little details I need to build, but I'm hoping I'm going to start filming that in December. So the plan is to start filming that. It's stop motion, so it's going to take some time. And then I'll go back to finishing up the illustrations for the book. And I'm hoping to get it on the circuit, at least in 1 or 2 festivals. So when the book comes out will also be when the film comes out. That's the plan. That's the update. And the thing I wanted to say about these books is that, and productivity, and if you're an artist, or any field really, this constant pressure of creating, especially as an artist, it's very difficult to be in that creative flow mindset if you feel like you have to have something done and produced and be sharing it. And I just, I can't. It's one big ginormous thing. So it went from a little screenplay idea and some paintings to tons of characters and sets and the house being built and the interior of the house and so many things that I just have to keep going with that. And I do think I will finish next year at some point. I definitely am excited to get the book out there because it's such a powerful story of healing and transformation, but it's so whimsical and Alice in Wonderland-ish, Wizard of Oz-ish kind of way. And all the characters are so interesting and anyway, I just can't wait to share it with the world, but I want to get it right. And I also want to keep continuing and discovering who I am as an artist and a filmmaker, film director. I'm now adding that to my list of things I'm learning about. And so yeah, that's where I'm at. That's today's vlog. That's the big update of where it is. When the book is going to print and when the filming is done, I will definitely start sharing. I have a huge archive of all kinds of things making all of this, and I will definitely be sharing on social media my process of filming. It's fascinating. I'm learning so much stuff, and I just love learning about it. So I don't know what will come from it, but I've really enjoyed it. And when I look at this book and I think about it, how 100 years later it's got all these gorgeous illustrations, it just reminds me to be in the present and to really focus on each and every piece of it, because why rush something that's gonna be in the world forever? Why not just do it right? Just because you're feeling this productive pressure. And if you're someone like that and you found your way out of it, please share with me because it's such a dance that we have to do. It's so interesting. Anyway, that's where I am with my alchemy project and with the short film, The Mystery of Eve. And I'm really excited about this because it's like every fantastical mystery story I loved when I was a little girl. And I'm definitely fulfilling a lot of my inner child work by creating all of this and learning so many fun things. So I hope that you'll stay with me on this journey, and I look forward to sharing more as I continue along. So wishing you all happy holidays, and I'll most likely see you in 2025. I'm not sure if I'll get another video in this year with the holidays coming up, but I do wish you and your family all the best health and happiness and peace. Thank you.